Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to Dream Room. Have you ever stood by the window in the morning, holding your coffee, looking out at a little garden bed, a narrow walkway, a porch corner, or the space beside your home office, and thought, why does this area always look tired? Maybe you planted something beautiful last spring, but by summer it faded. Maybe you tried to decorate a small yard, a balcony edge, a front step, or a quiet corner near the bedroom window, but the plants demanded more water, more trimming, more attention, and more money than you expected. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. Because a truly beautiful home is not only about expensive furniture, perfect paint colors, or trendy decorations. Sometimes the feeling of peace begins outside, with a simple path, a soft border of green, a few reliable flowers, a clay pot near the door, a wooden bench under a tree, or a plant that keeps coming back even when life gets busy. After many years of designing and arranging real home spaces, I have learned one important lesson. The best garden plants are not always the rarest or the most fashionable. The best ones are the plants that forgive you. They survive dry soil, hot afternoons, shaded corners, small spaces, and seasons when you simply do not have the energy to start over. So today, I want to share 8 of the toughest perennials I trust again and again, plants that can help your home feel calmer, softer, and more beautifully lived in. If you enjoy practical ideas for decorating your home, garden, porch, bedroom, bathroom, or small creative spaces, please subscribe to Dream Room. I would love to have you here for the next idea. 1. Liriope, the Tokus fix for shady problem areas. Let's begin with the place almost every home has, but very few people know how to decorate well. The difficult shady corner. Maybe it is under an old tree where the roots steal all the moisture. Maybe it is the narrow strip beside your house where sunlight only visits for an hour in the morning. Maybe it is the walkway beside the garage, the quiet side yard, or that forgotten space outside your bedroom or home office window. You look at it every day, but somehow, it never feels finished. This is where I almost always think of Lirop first. Lirop is not loud. It does not try to be the star of the garden. But in real home design, especially for small spaces, that is exactly its strength. It works like a living frame. Its narrow green leaves create a clean border, soften hard edges, and make an awkward space feel intentional. If you have a simple wooden bench, a few river stones, a clay pot, or a layer of natural mulch, Liriope can quietly pull everything together. Suddenly, that dry shaded corner no longer looks abandoned. It looks calm, arranged, and cared for. And the best part is that Liriope understands real life. It can handle shade, root competition, dry periods, and imperfect soil better than many prettier plants. In late summer, it sends up small purple flower spikes, and later dark berries add another little detail when the garden begins to slow down. For viewers who love decorating but do not want another high-maintenance project, Liriope is a gentle reminder. Sometimes the most beautiful solution is not the most dramatic one. Sometimes it is the plant that quietly solves the problem and lets the whole space breathe. 2. Daylily, the old-fashioned plant that still wins. Now let's talk about a plant that many people overlook because it feels too familiar. The daylily. You may have seen it in an old family garden, beside a country fence, near a mailbox, or growing in a place where nobody seemed to take care of it at all. And that is exactly why I trust it. Some plants become popular because they are new. Daylilies became trusted because they prove themselves year after year. For anyone who loves a warm, welcoming home but does not want a garden that constantly asks for attention, daylilies are one of the most forgiving choices you can make. They can handle poor soil, clay, summer heat, and dry periods once their roots are established. They do not need a perfect designer bed to look beautiful. They simply need a place to settle in. I especially like them for spaces that need cheerful color without complicated care. Along a fence, beside a front walkway, around a mailbox, or in a cottage-style corner near the porch. Their flowers bring that comfortable, lived-in feeling many people want when they decorate a home. Not too formal, not too stiff, just warm and familiar. And if you are someone who enjoys simple materials like mulch, natural stone, old wood borders, or clay pots, daylilies blend beautifully into that kind of setting. They make the garden feel softer and more personal. The only important thing to remember is this: give them good watering during the first season. Let the roots build strength. After that, daylilies become the kind of plant that keeps giving back with very little fuss. Sometimes the old-fashioned choice is old-fashioned for a reason. It works. 3. Sedum Autumn Joy, the perennial that saves the late-season garden. The next plant I always trust is Sedum Autumn Joy, especially when I am designing a space that needs to look good after the bright energy of summer begins to fade. Every garden has that moment. In spring, everything feels fresh. In early summer, the flowers are full and cheerful. But by late summer, many beds start to look tired. The colors soften, the leaves lose their excitement, suddenly the yard does not feel as decorated as it did before. That is when sedum autumn joy becomes valuable. This plant does not rush. In spring, it comes up with thick, sculptural foliage that already looks neat and intentional. In summer, the flower heads begin to form slowly, almost like little green buttons waiting for their moment. Then, as the season moves toward fall, the blooms deepen and bring structure, color, and calm beauty back into the garden. For small home spaces, sedum is especially useful. It works well along patio edges, beside gravel paths, near raised beds, or in dry, sunny corners where softer plants may struggle. It has a clean shape, so it fits beautifully in both cozy cottage gardens and more modern, simple landscapes. But here is the important part. Do not spoil it too much. Sedum prefers lean soil and full sun. If the soil is too rich or too wet, the plant can become weak and floppy. It performs best when you let it be tough. Pair it with gravel, old bricks, terracotta pots, or reclaimed wood edging, and it creates that natural, low-water look so many homeowners love. Even in winter, the dried seed heads can stay standing, adding quiet texture when the rest of the garden is resting. 4. Black-eyed Susan Goldsturm, the sunshine plant for tired summer beds next. Let's move into one of the most dependable plants for bringing a tired summer garden back to life. Black-eyed Susan Goldsturm. Every garden has a difficult moment in late summer. The fresh green feeling of spring is gone. Some flowers have finished blooming. The heat has been sitting on the yard for weeks. And when you look out from your kitchen window, your bedroom, or your home office, the space may begin to feel a little dull. That is exactly where Black-eyed Susan earns its place. Its golden yellow flowers with dark centers bring instant warmth to the landscape. They do not look delicate or fussy. They look cheerful, strong, and full of energy. In a small front yard, beside a plain fence, along a walkway, or near a quiet sitting area, this plant can make the whole space feel brighter. I especially like Goldsturm because it is reliable. Some plants give you one beautiful season and then disappear. But this variety is known for returning and blooming when the garden needs color most. For viewers who love natural decorating, Black-eyed Susan also blends beautifully with simple materials. It looks wonderful beside dark mulch, rustic wood borders, stone edging, woven baskets, and handmade garden details. It brings that warm, welcoming feeling that makes a house look cared for from the outside. And because it is good for sunny spaces and friendly to pollinators, it adds more than color. It adds movement, life, and a sense that your garden is still awake, even when summer feels heavy. This is the plant I use when a space needs sunshine without needing constant attention. 5. Purple coneflower, the living decor for birds, bees, and windowside views. Now let's talk about purple coneflower, one of those plants that does more than simply bloom. It brings life into the garden. For many people who love decorating their home, the view from inside matters just as much as the space outside. Maybe you have a chair near the bedroom window. Maybe your desk faces the yard while you work from home. Maybe you enjoy sitting by the kitchen window in the morning, watching the light move across the plants. Purple coneflower is perfect for that kind of view. It has a strong, upright shape, so even before the flowers open, it gives structure to the garden bed. Then, when the blooms arrive in summer, the purple petals and raised centers create a natural, relaxed beauty that feels both wild and intentional. What I love most is the movement it brings. Butterflies visit the flowers. Bees work quietly from bloom to bloom. Later in the season, the seed heads can remain standing, and birds may come to feed. So instead of looking at a still decoration, you are looking at a living picture that changes throughout the day. Purple coneflower works beautifully near a walkway, beside a porch, in a sunny border, or in a small garden bed where you want height without heaviness. It pairs well with mulch, stone edging, rustic wood, and simple natural materials. For the strongest, most reliable performance, I usually trust the classic purple types rather than overly fancy hybrid colors. When the goal is a garden that comes back and supports the space year after year, simple is often stronger. This is a plant for people who want their home to feel connected to nature, even in a small yard. 6. Lavender. The fragrant plant for porches, paths, and peaceful corners. The next perennial is lavender. And this one is special because it does not only change how a space looks, it changes how a space feels. Imagine walking along a sunny path beside your home, brushing gently against the leaves and catching that soft, clean fragrance in the air. Or imagine a small porch corner with a chair, a clay pot, a little gravel, and lavender growing nearby. Suddenly, the space feels calmer, fresher, and more intentional. That is why I love using lavender near places people actually pass through and enjoy: front steps, patio edges, sunny walkways, small sitting areas, and peaceful corners beside the house. But lavender has one rule you must respect. It does not want to be spoiled. Many people lose lavender because they treat it like a thirsty, rich soil garden flower. But lavender prefers full sun, lean soil, and fast drainage. If the soil stays wet or too heavy, the plant will struggle. For long-term reliability, English lavender is often the better choice in many cooler regions. It gives you that classic fragrance, soft color, and tidy form that works beautifully in home landscapes. From a decorating point of view, lavender pairs wonderfully with natural materials. Terracotta pots, pale gravel, aged wood, simple stone borders, and woven baskets all make it feel at home. For viewers who love quiet, simple beauty, lavender is more than a plant. It is a small daily experience, a scent near the doorway, a soft edge beside the path, and a peaceful detail that makes the whole home feel more welcoming. 7. Russian Sage. The silver blue cloud for hot, dry spaces. Now we come to Russian Sage, the plant I trust when a sunny area feels almost too harsh to decorate. Every yard has one of these difficult spots. It may be beside the driveway, along a hot fence near a plain wall, or in a corner where the afternoon sun sits for hours. The soil dries quickly, softer plants collapse, and the space begins to feel empty no matter how many times you try to improve it. Russian sage is made for that kind of place. It brings tall silver stems, airy blue-purple flowers, and a soft cloud-like movement that can make a hard corner feel graceful. Instead of fighting the heat, this plant uses it. Give it full sun and well-drained soil, and it becomes one of the most beautiful low-maintenance perennials in the landscape. From a design point of view, Russian sage is excellent behind shorter plants, near fences, along driveways, or beside simple outdoor sitting areas where you want height without heaviness. Its soft color blends beautifully with gravel, stone borders, weathered wood, and natural garden textures. Another reason I value it is deer resistance. In many gardens, deer can ruin a planting overnight, but Russian sage has aromatic foliage that deer usually avoid, making it useful for open yards and rural edges. The main rule is simple. Do not place it in shade or wet soil. That is where it loses strength. For viewers who have a hot, dry space they have almost given up on, Russian sage is a reminder that the problem may not be the area itself. Sometimes the space is only waiting for the right plant. 8. Catmint. The soft, forgiving edge for small gardens. The final perennial in this list is catmint, and I love it because it brings softness to places that often feel too hard or unfinished. Think about the edges of a patio, the line beside a walkway, the border around a raised bed, or the small front garden near the entrance. These spaces often have stone, brick, gravel, concrete, or wood. They are useful, but sometimes they can feel a little stiff. Catmint helps relax the whole scene. Its gray-green foliage and soft blue-purple flowers create a gentle, flowing look. It does not feel formal or demanding. It gives the garden that easy cottage feeling many people want, especially in small home landscapes where every plant needs to earn its place. Catmint is also wonderfully forgiving. Once established, it can handle dry conditions, poor soil, and sunny spots without needing constant attention. Its aromatic leaves also make it less attractive to deer, which is a real advantage for many homeowners. I especially like using catmint along pathways, patio edges, small front yard borders, and places that can be seen from a home office window. When the breeze moves through it, the whole area feels softer and more alive. The simple care tip is this. After the first flush of flowers begins to fade, shear it back lightly. That encourages fresh growth and often brings another wave of blooms. For viewers who love decorating with natural materials, stone, brick, gravel, wood, clay pots, and handmade garden details, catmint is one of the easiest plants to blend in. It does not shout for attention. It simply softens the space, fills the gaps, and makes the garden feel peaceful. Conclusion: reliable beauty, small spaces, peaceful home. So when you look at these 8 perennials together, the lesson is very simple. A beautiful garden does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be filled with expensive plants, rare varieties, or delicate flowers that need attention every single day. Sometimes the most beautiful outdoor space begins with choosing plants that understand real life, hot summers, dry soil, shady corners, small yards, busy weeks, and seasons when you simply do not have the energy to start over. Liriope can soften the shade. Daylilies can bring back that familiar, welcoming charm. Sedum can hold the garden together when summer fades. Black-eyed Susan can bring sunshine to tired beds. Coneflower can turn your window view into a living picture. Lavender can make a path feel peaceful. Russian sage can rescue the hottest corner, and catmint can soften the hard edges around patios, walkways, and small garden beds. The real goal is not just to grow plants. The goal is to create a home that feels calmer when you step outside, warmer when guests arrive, and more alive when you look through the window. So start with one small space. Maybe it is the empty strip beside your walkway, the dry shade under a tree, the corner near your porch, or the view outside your home office. Choose one tough perennial, give it the right place, and let it begin changing the feeling of her home. Now I would love to hear from you. Which perennial has survived the longest in your garden? Share it in the comments, because your experience may help someone else watching today. And if you enjoy practical ideas for decorating your home, garden, porch, and small spaces, please follow and subscribe to Dream Room. I'll see you in the next video.